Welcome back, guys. Vaporology, everything vapor coming at you. We're bringing you the Zephyrus by UD. This isn't the newest release, obviously. This thing has been reviewed already, but I'm going to give you my take on it. And I gotta say, I really do love this atomizer. Been using it now for a good week, solid week. Burned through one of these coils, the pre-mades. Gotta say, you can see this is saturated here with some, what's in there? This is a custard, a darker vanilla custard. But one thing I find with these things, it could be my juice too, but they're really, you want to use them on the lower wattage end as much as possible. They're rated, this is the 0.3 ohm coil, it's rated to 50 watts. I fire them at 50 watts because it says I could handle them. I wouldn't recommend it, guys. You'll go through them pretty quick. This coil here was the first one I used. And then you can see, it's kind of dry obviously, but you can see that this was like 2 days, I think. 2 or 3 days. Firing it at 50 watts. So I had a little bit of burning happening. And I turned it down. I was never over 50 watts for any length of time. And I turned it down. I found it was more happy around 35 to 40 watts. But in the essence of longevity, nobody wants to be buying these things, change them once a week. Even once a week's too much. They're freaking $20 for a 4-pack. I purchased these separately. They do come in the individual tear-off, perforated kind of cardboard. But these almost look too cool to be disposable. Like, they're just, I don't know, it's a lot of machining and technical work that went into making this coil, and it seems like a total waste to just throw it in the garbage when you're done. That's just me. I will be attempting to rebuild one of these as they are huge. Where's that other one I just had here? This bottom plug. Get this fucker in focus. Pulls out. That's the contact. You can see up in there. So you got this rubber insulator. There's the wires poking out. So this really does not look very hard to rebuild to me. You get the positives spread open and the negatives together. Or wait a minute, no. Positives together, negatives spread open. Interesting design though. It's got that ceramic cup, and I gotta say, flavors on this guy are phenomenal. They do taste very, very good. I didn't really get much burnt flavors at all, but like I said, I didn't push it over 50. So if you want to run something hot, like, I don't know, I don't really see much of a added performance ratio when you go over 50 watts. Like, I've built huge builds, and I've been there, man. I've tried them all, and I really don't see the point. Like, I'm vaping right now. This guy's at 50 watts, but I got the RBA section in there with a 2 Claptons wrapped up, twisted 27 gauge. I'll break you down all that in a minute. But I gotta say, the flavor on this tank is phenomenal. Like, I was coming off a Star tank. I got a couple Magnus and then the Freemax Stars here. I love these guys. And flavor's on par. It's great. The airflow is a little bit more stymied, if you will. I like it. It's got like the perfect amount of resistance. If you're after flavor, this is a phenomenal tank. If you're out there to blow strictly clouds, you might want to look elsewhere. But I gotta say, it blows nice clouds, huge clouds, thick, milky white vapor. Flavor-wise, this is one of the better tanks I've ever used, and that is in no stretch of the imagination. It's a very good tank. So I'm going to drain the fluid out of it and break it all down and show you what it's all about. I gotta say, it throws nice. The flavors, though, guys, the flavors. I'm after flavor. I'm not out there to blow freaking 120 watts at something just to blow huge clouds and mute the flavors. I like to taste my juice, and this one really does make even the least noticeable flavors come out. Okay, so laid out in front of you is pretty much everything you get. I put the extra O-rings and such inside a little bag. One thing I did notice, I liked the clear O-rings that it came with, but it only took about a day or two of using it, and they started to turn yellow. But I was using some color juices and whatever, but it didn't take long, and the silicone started to soak up. They start to brown, I find, too. So I took those out in favor of the reds for now. I've also heard that the sub-tank mini O-rings will work as well. So a spare parts bag, they give you the spare little butt plug there for the top, O-rings for everything, and a spare build deck screw. So pretty nice to see. And you also do get spare glass, which is awesome. You need spare glass. I don't know how many times I've broken my damn glass, and glad to see it. It's nice thick glass too. Seems like it's pretty quality made stuff. So let's just go through the parts real quick. I'll show you everything. So this is the top cap. I will assemble it here in a second to show you how it all goes together. So it's threaded, which is nice. It pulls it all together. This is the top little plug. Like I said, they do give you a spare one of these. Sometimes it can get a bit slippery if you get covered in juice, but for the most part I haven't had much issue with it. I do like the fact where you don't have to remove the atomizer from the mod to fill it. Makes it real quick. So drip tips, a 2-part drip tip. It's actually kind of nice. It's got this kind of heat sink on the bottom part of it, and it is like rifled. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it's like a gun barrel. And I do notice the flavors with this drip tip are fairly nice. Like they seem to be a little bit, I don't know what it is, but so it does come apart if you want to just use the top part, and the bottom is more so just a heat sink. But it is all metal, and it does sit in contact with the metal cap, so if you're chain vaping for a bit, this thing does warm up fairly fast. I found using one of my 2 puffs, it's one of the resin tipped, or resin on the bottom, kind of like this one but a black. Let me get it here. It's got the resin on the bottom. I find they work pretty good and they stay cool for quite a while. So the base, you got this long center pin here. Supposedly it is silver plated, copper I believe. It's kind of the cyclops or slits for airflow. And then the top cap, this just kind of threads right onto this once you got it all together. I will start assembling it in a second. This is one of the existing coils again, and this is the RBA. So I have a build in here. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to slide this stuff out of the way here, and I will show you. This is kind of what I found to be pretty much the magic build in here. You can't really get much bigger, and for flavor this is just right on it. So it took me about 2 builds to really dial this thing in. But one thing you want to make sure, like, check out the cotton. This is the most cotton you want in there. You see the top of the build, or the juice wells there? Just a little bit of cotton, just kind of touching the tops. And it can't be very packed in there. It's got to be kind of loose and fluffy. So I really want to emphasize that. Less is more in a situation like this. You got lots of juice in the tank. You just need enough so that the cotton stops the juice from flowing freely into the build deck and down your airflow. So you can see the RBA section is pretty nice. I love the dual flow or dual air holes on the bottom. It does provide phenomenal flavor. So this is twisted 25 gauge. I believe this is 8 wraps. Let me just double check here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 8 wraps at 2.5 millimeters, and this is probably the biggest you're going to be able to fit in here. I did have to kind of squish the coil over just a little bit to get it to fit inside the ring here, but double check all that. Make sure it's not shorting out on you before you put it all together. Fill it up and realize that you popped a coil. So yeah, if you're going to build at 2.5 mils, really, and Claptons, 2.5 is not bad by itself, but when you're doing Claptons, then it becomes a little bit tight. So that's basically it. That's my runaround. I will assemble this right now and show you how it goes together. Pretty straightforward. I really like this RDA, guys, or RTA, I should say, rebuildable tank. It is rebuildable. Coils are a bit expensive, and they only come in 4 packs, like I said. So I kind of just pop the O-rings in to the glass. Found this is kind of the easier way to do it. just going to thread the RBA section into the build deck, or into the, I guess it would be the base. Make sure that O-ring's on there. It does come with one. It gives you a spare. They give you spare O-rings for everything. Okay, so the glass just kind of pops on. Make sure that O-ring. Usually I actually. What am I doing here? So drop the O-ring in. Make sure that seats properly in the base. And then spin the glass on. Sometimes it might be easier to wet the glass a little bit. Put a little VG on there. I do that sometimes as a trick. I just did wash this thing and it is a bit dry right now, so it is fighting me just a little bit. Okay, so I just popped it in there. I did just put a couple little dabs of VG and just kind of spin it around. Makes it so much easier when they're dry anyway. You can probably just get it wet and do the same. So the top's threaded. So this is the piece that pops in here. It's the same thing with this seal, so you need to make sure that you don't over tighten this thing. So pop the seal on there, and you might need to put VG on it as well again. And the one issue I've had with this is if you push it in too far, the seal will kind of bind up on you, because you do have to spin it together now. So you need to kind of push it in a little bit and then start spinning it. And there it goes, it grabbed. And it will thread in. Just go until it's snug. You don't have to over tighten. And that's it. Assembled. Airflow control ring on the bottom. It's nice and snug too. I find it's nice. Like, it's not going anywhere. O-ring's nice fit. UD really did a good job on this. So now we'll fill her up. Okay. So I'm going to be using some of my strawberry custard. If you guys are interested, check me out. modsauce.ca. This is a nicely steeped batch I got going on here. It does take quite a bit of juice, 5 mils. And you can get it nice and full. The dual vent slots there, or filling holes, awesome. It's a really nice design for on the go. So then now you just pop your little plug back in. This is very important, don't forget that. Thread your top cap on. And you're good to go. One thing I found too is this has a little double O-ring. They give you a spare one too, but that's one thing. It can bind up a little bit on you sometimes, but it does sit nicely once you get it in there. Alright guys, so there she is, the Zephyrus from UD. Got her all filled up. Just a little bubble in there, and you can get it plumb full, but it's been kind of drinking. You see some bubbles come up. One thing you can't do is prime this one because of the airflow. You can kind of, I guess, if you close the airflow rate off, but it's not completely sealed. So you can try and primer puff it a little bit, but when then you try and pull the airflow off, and because it's inset, you can't block the airflow, so it's kind of a bitch. You gotta just wait, give it a couple minutes, make sure it's breathing properly. So these are the coils. They come, I think they're $16.99 a 4-pack, so not cheap. Might get cheaper with time, and I know they're rebuildable. You can easily rebuild this if you're so inclined. I'm not sure. I'll tackle one of those here in the near future. Also, this is a genuine authentic, so they do come with the scratch and check code on the top here, which you can go and check out at ud.com. yoursig.com, sorry. So now I'll just go over the back, and this is the only directions it really comes with here. There's the height. Without drip tip 45 is 22 mil, stainless steel and Pyrex, top fill 5 mil, 12 by 2 by 2 air intake. Stainless steel, not copper, with silver plated, and ceramic seat, dual coil, and authentic Kenjendo Japanese organic cotton. So that's probably half the reason the flavor is so damn good on those coils. So that's it, guys. Hope you liked the review. I will be posting links where you can pick this up for a pretty penny. It's under $30 in most places. I know Fastech's got the clones up already for about $17. It looks pretty much identical, so I don't really know if it's even worth. I don't know. I bought the authentic and I'm more than happy with it. So that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make it cloudy, my friend. Keep calm. Vape on.